Hello, and welcome to Starting Points, where one thing leads to another. Well, we're looking at Cook's voyages, and, well, they came after all these voyages that are in this book. Around the world in 100 years makes me think of around the world in 80 days. And from Prince Henry, the navigator in Portugal, to Magellan, who also was Portuguese, but he didn't sail for the King of Portugal. It's all right in here. Loads of names that you will have heard of, and beautifully written by Jean Fritz. More about her in another video. This book is a book which I've shown you before, but I just couldn't resist. I wanted to show you some pictures in here. So if I'm lucky and can find them, well, I guess I'm not going to be lucky. Luck is with me. Here's a painting by Sidney Parkinson, and I just was very impressed by this young man's art. The tones and the subtleties of his work. So I thought I'd share that with you. And then I also wanted to share with you a picture that I've shown you before. It's a picture of the platypus. Now, I was struck by the platypus, thinking that what an unusual animal, really. So I looked it up in Wikipedia, and lo and behold, I haven't read very far until I come to poisonous venom. Poisonous venom. It seems like, or it is, it's not seems like, the platypus, the male platypus, on its hind feet has a barb, and that barb is connected to a gland that produces a poisonous venom. And that's for defense if it needs, or maybe other purposes. I don't know. But if you didn't know that, and you want, what a cute animal, and you tried to pick it up and it scratched you, you would know that you've been scratched. Because with a human, an adult human, weighs enough that doesn't get killed, whereas an animal that maybe was giving trouble to the platypus that maybe weighs 20 pounds might be deadly there. But for humans, the report is excruciating pain that lasts for an excruciatingly long time. So I'm thinking, some people may have said, I'd like to die. There's a story, a series of books. This is the 20 books written by Patrick O'Brien, and there are deaths in this because it's during, much of it's during the English and French Napoleonic Wars, and different locales, two main characters in all the books, and my son read them all. Loved them, and he recommended some to me, and this one, because it takes place in last part of the book takes place in Australia, is a book that I thought I'd share with you. So there's a few things here that I'm going to look into in terms of that settlement another time. Let it suffice right now to say that when they landed there, they were not impressed with what had happened and the state of things. And there's some surprises as one would expect in any book. This is the Coast Mappers, and they were dealing with a surprise. Someone on the west coast of the United States in the 1840s had discovered gold. And when the news got out, people quit their work, tried to raise enough money to get passage by boat. There was no Panama Canal, had to go all the way around. But, and people came from other places in Asia or Australia to, the trouble was that there were no lighthouses. There were no good charts, not like Cook would make. And ships were crashing all the time. So the call went out for people who could map, and they wanted people to map the whole coast of the western United States, because ships were crashing up in the Seattle area, they were crashing down in, all along the California coast. So, neat book. Oh, the author, Taylor Morrison. It's beautifully illustrated, and I think somebody would find it quite fascinating. Because people are still surveying and still doing that sort of thing. That's a job that people do. And it, who knows, might be a career for someone. The Longitude Prize. Now, knowing where you are, knowing what dangers there are, knowing that platypus is dangerous, so that seems important, but not always possible. Going from east to west is not so hard because of you can take sightings and angles based on the sun and evening star, and in the case of going north to south, they didn't have a good way to do that. So a big prize was offered by the English for somebody who come up with a solution. This book is by Joan Dash, and I highly recommend it. There are other books as well that have been written on it, and this is Louise Borden, The Story of Longitude, Sea Clocks. Really nicely illustrated, clear introduction. The mapping might be for 13-year-olds. This might be for 13-year-olds as well. And another one of these beautiful books where Catherine Lasky's prose is mashed up with a good, neat artist, one that she's worked with before. The Man Who Made Time Travel is the title of the book. And again, not a long read, and I recommend all three of those. Now, when it comes to knowing where you're located and where you are, one mustn't forget that hummingbirds sometimes migrate all the way from Georgia up into Alaska, that monarch butterflies, and come back. Monarch butterflies come from, say, New England or Ontario down into Mexico, and some survivors make it all the way back. And the moonbird, which I showed you, flies from nesting grounds on Arctic islands all the way down to Tierra del Fuego, which was below where the Strait of Magellan is. So I think these are probably one of the best navigators of all time. Now, people have done a lot of research on birds navigating and how they migrate and what they migrate by the stars. And of course, there are also stories of like cats or dogs. I've read several of these where the dog ends up being separated from the family and manages to get back to where the home is, or dog and a cat or whatever. So things to ponder about. Until next time, thanks for joining me, and bye for now.